So we open with an addendum to Olivia Foxworth's last will and testament. She says that it's time for us to hear her side of the story. Do we really care? Probably not. But when you've been painted as the torturer and murderer of small children, it's only natural to want to give your version of the facts. If only every dead person prepared themselves for a stain on their family name in this way. I want to point out that this must have been written up well before Kathy crashed the Christmas party 12 years after escaping the attic, for that was the same night the grandmother died. So, yes, Grandma Olivia planned ahead, knowing that when you do evil things to helpless children who can't fight back, one day, when they are older, they might just muster up the nerve to tell everyone your dirty little secrets. So, here are the facts, per the evil grandmother. It all began when Olivia Winfield, an awkward spinster who still lived at home into adulthood, met a handsome blonde man named Malcolm Foxworth one night when her father invited him over to the house for dinner. If you've read the other books in the series, you know that Malcolm is the filthy rich grandfather who ruled his family with an iron fist in life and even after his death. Olivia is shocked when she realizes that he has taken an interest in her. He finds women to be generally very silly and beneath him, but Olivia is an intelligent young lady with a mind of her own. This whole courtship reminds me of my grandparents a little. My grandmother met my grandfather when her father invited him over to the house for dinner, and they also went to church together. That's about where the similarities end, thankfully. Malcolm proposes to Olivia after a total of about 2 dates in rapid succession. He asks for her father's permission, and her father warns him that any money she inherits will be hers alone. I doubt the wealthy Malcolm is all that interested in her money, but who knows? The more money you have, sometimes the more money you want. But he agrees to this stipulation. Olivia sees no red flags, though she does spoil the surprise for the reader by announcing right off that she was very naive, because apparently, despite Malcolm's eagerness to marry her, he had said nothing about loving her. They haven't even shared a kiss yet. Surprise, surprise, this businessman seems to be treating their proposed marriage as little more than a business transaction. So now it's time for their rushed wedding. How romantic! No one will be showing up on Malcolm's side because his father is traveling and apparently there's no one else for him to invite. Not suspicious at all. Olivia invites her maternal aunt and her cousin John Amos. John is 18 at the time, but I bet he just looks like a younger version of the creepy bald butler he will one day become. Malcolm and Olivia's first kiss as a married couple is disappointing. She describes it as a quote-unquote stamp of certification. Olivia is concerned because her father sheds a tear during the toast. I can't wait to see how she reacts when the really horrible stuff starts to go down. John Amos, her cousin, who is only 18, seems to suspect that something is off, and he offers Olivia a shoulder to lean on if she ever needs the support. She thinks it's odd that he should say this to her on her wedding day. I think it's odd that John Amos should say anything soft and caring at all, knowing what kind of person he will turn into as the years go by. Malcolm informs Olivia that there will be no honeymoon. By this point, she's starting to feel like she'd rather not sleep with this man, so no real loss. Olivia's father tells her to be good to Malcolm from here on out. Funny, he doesn't ask that Malcolm be good to his daughter. Malcolm tells Olivia a little more about Foxworth Hall and how rich he is. His big house sits on top of a hill looking down on all the homes around it. Malcolm says his mansion has about 30 to 40 rooms, and he's cut back on the help, but it's no problem because he has Olivia now. So there you go. He didn't want a wife. He wanted a maid without having to justify the expense. He's practical, if nothing else. So they arrive at Foxworth Hall, and Olivia soon learns that, with all the spare rooms available to them, they will be retiring to their separate quarters. Perhaps indefinitely? Though Olivia still hopes that she's wrong and that Malcolm will slip into bed with her eventually. It's starting to look more and more like a pipe dream. I wish I lived in Foxworth Hall, having a nice toasty fire set for me in my own cozy room. Then again, Foxworth Hall does eventually burn to the ground like 50 years later, so maybe we foresaw that coming.